Wild again in 1984 destroyed the field here and then went on to pull an upset in the inaugural Classic. And Ali Shiba set new standards in 1988 with the Cup Double. Tonight, some of racing's best gather again at the Meadowlands to run for the Cup and perhaps for future Breeders' Cup glory. ESPN presents Budweiser Racing Across America. This special edition, Racing to the Breeders' Cup, is brought to you by Budweiser Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By the Mirage in Las Vegas, presenting the World Heavyweight Championship. Douglas versus Holyfield, October 25th. DeBartolo Racing, leading the way to the 21st century. By Thrifty Car Rental. Thrifty is a lot of car rental company for incredibly little. Three Chimneys, the idea is excellence. And by Keeneland, source of the classic horse. Stay tuned. The Meadowlands Cup is coming up next, live on ESPN. New Jersey, for their richest and most important thoroughbred event of the fall racing season, it's the Meadowlands Cup. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln as we welcome you to the final stop in our Racing to the Breeders' Cup series. You know, the Breeders' Cup is, well, just over 2 weeks, 2 bridges, and with any kind of break in the traffic, about 45 minutes away over to Belmont Park, the host site for Breeders' Cup 7 on October 27th. I've already told you about some of the impact this Meadowlands Cup race has had on the richest race, the Breeders' Cup Classic. And there are many in this field today, in fact, considered by most people the best they've ever had in the 14 editions of this race, looking to go on to the Breeders' Cup. Let's take a look now at our conditions of racing here this evening. The Meadowlands Cup is a Grade 1, $500,000 guaranteed. We have a sloppy racetrack tonight, intermittent rain, but a very mild evening here in the 70s at the Meadowlands. The distance is a key. 1.1 miles, the shortest they've ever run the Cup at here. It's always been 1.25 miles. The shorter distance, well, to help those horses get ready for their plans for the Breeders' Cup in 2 weeks. Right now, time to meet the field and our expert announcers. 2 guys who spent more than 20 years combined announcing races at the Meadowlands. Here's Dave Johnson and Tom Durkin.
Well, Tom, in horse racing, it's always good to have a plan, but sometimes, even with the big horses, they go awry.
Well, the best laid plans of Mice and Men and Neil Howard and Cod Campbell, indeed, particularly with Summer Squall, Dave. The plan was to run Summer Squall in the Pennsylvania Derby, which he did, and which he won. Then to give the horse 17 days rest, he would come back in the 1.25 mile Super Derby, be given 5 weeks rest, and then run in the Breeders' Cup Classic, which is at 1.25 miles. Didn't happen because 48 hours before the Super Derby, he got a virus. So he comes into this 9 furlong race after a 39-day hiatus and only 14 days to rest up before the big race.
Well, the plan with Beau Genius was always to give him a rest in the fall. He's had a tough campaign. He's raced in every month from February through August. And he got some R&R in September, but they needed a sharpener before the Breeders' Cup, and they've chosen the Meadowlands Cup, which is the richest race Beau Genius has ever appeared in, and it's going to be a difficult assignment because he's trying to put 7 straight stakes victories together.
Well, this race has been on the dance card of opening verse for a long time, just like it was for his stablemate Blushing John last year, which they used to great success because he went on to be named the older male champion of the year.
Well, let's find out who's in the 1990 edition of the Meadowlands Cup. $500,000. We start with the entry of Billy Shears and Norquester with jockeys Rick Wilson and Julie Crone, and 6-1, 2 for the price of 1. Great Normand, a long shot at 20 in the morning line with Carlos Lopez, as you see, carrying 113 pounds. Me Selecto is the 3-horse with Jerry Bailey, starting at 10. Beau Genius, the starting high weight, 122 pounds. Second choice in the morning line at 3-1, and jockey Ricardo Lopez in for the ride. Silver Survivor, the 5-horse with Art Madrid, 20-1. Opening verse at 9-2 with Cordero. Summer Squall, there's the favorite, number 7, Pat Day, the rider, and 2-1. We've had one scratch. That's Senator to be. He will not be in the field. Slavic, the 9-horse, will be with Jose Santos aboard at 8-1. Tricky Creek, the 10-horse, starts at 12-1 with Craig Perrette and carries 112 pounds. What about the weights in this contest?
Well, it is a handicap race, but I don't think weights will have anything to do with the outcome of this race, Dave. Beau Genius has already won carrying 122 pounds, and gosh, Summer Squall carried 126 when he won the Preakness. So despite the fact that it is a handicap, I don't see the weights affecting the outcome at all.
When the Meadowlands Cup was put on the schedule, when thoroughbred racing came to the Meadowlands in 1977, the Breeders' Cup was not in existence. And now it's grown to a $500,000 race, and I guess what would have been the closing chapter for a thoroughbreds campaign now has become the opening verse of a very interesting October, Tom.
Opening verse, of course, no pun intended, but I think this race is definitely going to go a long way in determining who will run in the Breeders' Cup Classic this year. We're expecting a gate load of 14, and the Meadowlands Cup will go a long way in determining who will face the starter.
Chris?
Thank you, Dave. When we come back, we'll introduce you to a hot thoroughbred, Beau Genius, and a closer look at some of the renovation work here at the magnificent Meadowlands. Back at the Meadowlands, Tom Durkin's joined us now. We're going to showcase one of the top thoroughbreds in the nation right now. Maybe the hottest thoroughbred going, Beau Genius. He's won 6 stakes in a row.
Indeed, and I think everybody in the country knows those ubiquitous Beau knows commercials, even those of you that don't know diddly, Chris. And, you know, Beau knows basketball, Beau knows baseball, Beau knows football, but does Beau know racing? And if Beau knows racing, does he know Beau Genius? So we asked the man that knows Beau Genius better than anybody else, Gerald Bennett, the trainer of Beau Genius, if enough people in racing know Beau Genius, not Jackson.
No, not really. Based on a lot of the races that he ran, even in the Michigan Mile when he beat Opening Verse. If they look at the flat mile, they were about a tick off the track record for the mile, for the flat mile itself, and it was a very, very bad track that day. Sloppy rain for 2 or 3 days, and then they've closed in his mile and 1/8 races. He's come the last 1/8 of a mile and 12 and change, 12 and 1, 12 2s, and the Island the same, off tracks. And his finishing time has been excellent after putting the competition away the whole race and being challenged mostly the race.
At least part of the reason Beau Genius has repelled all those challenges is regular rider Ricardo Lopez, who Bennett feels fits this horse perfectly.
And the other riders used to restrict him and keep him back, you know, too much, and his action, he could never get himself together. He'd look awkward on the track and everything. Now Ricardo knows how to just right out of the gate and let him get himself together that first quarter, 3/8, and once after he's got his stride the way he wants, he's comfortable, and he's got all kinds of horse.
For the Detroit-based Gerald Bennett, it's the performance by Beau Genius in the Michigan Mile last July that retains special meaning.
When I watched the the videotape on the Michigan Mile, because I'm staying there, you get a little choked up to what he's done for us, because it was just a thrill that you can't explain in your life.
But the thrill comes after a lot of hard work to make Beau Genius into the tiger he's become. When he first entered Bennett's camp last September, he was in need of some serious weight training.
Well, when we first got the horse, he really didn't have a lot of, you know, body to him, substance and muscle to him. So as this daily exercise and his races, we gradually progressed with him, picked some easiest spots we could for him. He got more muscle tone to him, he's got more weight on him. And Patrick here gallops him, he weighs 175 pounds. And he's the only one that gets on him all the time.
In addition, exercise rider and groom Patrick White is also Beau Genius's unofficial press agent. And even the low-key Gerald Bennett wouldn't mind some extra exposure for his stable star.
I said we should do one of those Beau Jackson commercials with him, get him on the horse, or a beer commercial or something. You know how they have that on television, Beau knows this and Beau knows that.
And so far, this Beau knows all the right moves.
Well, if Beau knows how to get to the winner's circle tonight, and then more importantly on October 27th, if he goes on to the Breeders' Cup Classic, move over Beau Jackson. Some of that endorsement money might go to a Beau Genius. Well, the Meadowlands, they know how to put on a promotion. You see the rain starting to fall here, and there are the daily racing form Meadowlands Cup umbrellas handed out to the fans, and they've come in good stead here this evening for them. Well, the Meadowlands, of course, is a member of the Thoroughbred Racing Associations, and our host tonight is Bob Mulcahy. He is the chairman of the board, the president here at the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority, and gave us a tour of the renovations and innovations here at the Meadowlands.
Chris, we've embarked upon a $12 million renovation program here to again make the Meadowlands the place to be. It includes, particularly on the paddock level, which is the grandstand level for most people, a new teletheater in which we have a major video wall which can show a big picture or 9 separate pictures at one time. We have an all-new sports bar in which you can see games from throughout the country. We have 300 television sets on the floor. We are opening a new race tech area in which you'll be able to find handicapping information as well as recall races. The concession stands have a new look. The whole floor has been modernized. In addition to that, we're currently redoing the terrace trackside restaurant. I think it'll be comparable, if not better, than any in the country, with television sets at every table. And the whole thing will be modernized and enlarged.
For the racing industry in New Jersey, this November 6th is a date of critical importance.
Well, there are 2 questions on the ballot in this state this fall. One would permit Sunday racing, and the other would permit us to simulcast our product to the casinos in Atlantic City. We're in the difficult position of having New York, Delaware, and Pennsylvania, which surround us on all sides, having Sunday racing. Even the casinos can operate on Sunday, yet we cannot run racing on Sunday. And the second aspect of it is to be able to simulcast our product into the casinos. We can do it to Las Vegas now, but we can't do it to Atlantic City. Both of these issues are very important in the arsenal of products that we have to offer to the racing public in New Jersey.
And they estimate a yes vote on November 6th could mean an impact of more than $6 million annually in state revenues to the Garden State. Thoroughbred racing, harness racing, 3rd biggest industry. 1,000 tonight should bet $2.2 million on Meadowlands Cup night here. You know, this race 2 years ago produced the fastest 1.25 mile time ever run in the history of thoroughbred racing here in the Northeast. We're going to take a look back now to 1988 and to a horse named Ali Sheba.
This Claiborne Look Back is brought to you by Claiborne Farm, where for more than a century, a great record reflects our experience.
In 1988, Ali Sheba was marching relentlessly toward the Horse of the Year title. An off-track in New York forced him to detour here to the Meadowlands Cup, where jockey Chris McCarran had all he could handle to catch the pace setter.
Slew, City Slew, with 1/4 mile to go, has the lead as he has from the start. Ali Sheba on the outside is gaining ground in 2nd. Bet Twice is now 3rd. Along the inside, Pleasant Virginian 4th. The battle on the front end. Slew, City Slew at the rail, and Ali Sheba on the outside. And down the stretch they come. Ali Sheba puts ahead in front. Chris McCarran aboard. Ali Sheba has the lead by a neck. Slew, City Slew 2nd. Here's the finish of the Meadowlands Cup. Ali Sheba by half a length.
It was a smashing track record performance, taking a 2nd and 3/5 off the old standard. The Cup put Ali Sheba right on course for the crowning achievement of his brilliant career, a victory in the 1988 Breeders' Cup Classic in his final start. Well, some parallels tonight. 2 years later, the track, as it was 2 years ago, an off-track, sloppy racing surface. And for Summer Squall, the race favorite, also some parallels here tonight. Like Ali Sheba, he had to make a change in plans for Ali Sheba. He didn't like the track conditions, the Jockey Club Gold Cup. He had to come to the Meadowlands Cup to get ready for Breeders' Cup. For Summer Squall, it was a fever to take him out of the $1 million Louisiana Super Derby and bring him here to the Meadowlands Cup. We had a chance to talk earlier with the Dogwood Stable owner, Cot Campbell, about the disappointment of having to scratch out of the $1 million Super Derby.
Well, that was a disappointment, and he had a fever, as you know, and it lasted 24 hours, but it was the wrong 24 hours. But he's doing fine. He's been perfectly good since then. He's eaten well, he's trained well, had a nice 3/4 mile work at Churchill earlier, and we couldn't be more pleased with him. Just delighted.
Trainer Neil Howard is feeling better than the last time we saw him at Louisiana Downs, when that fever again forced him to change plans.
It's tough. This wasn't a major setback for him anyway. Just a couple days we had to slow down a little bit. Fortunately, he got over the thing just as quick as he got it. So we were able to kind of get right back in the groove.
And Summer Squall looked to be back in that racing groove after his morning workout here at the Meadowlands.
I couldn't ask for any better. I told Robert, just a nice half mile. you know, not peeling the skin off or anything. 48 and change, 49, just in hand, and the clock is quarter and 48, out a minute and 2/5. And Robert said he was in hand all the way. Said he handled the track good.
Summer Squall has never had the best timing. He missed last year's Breeders' Cup after a perfect 5-for-5 juvenile campaign when he came up with a hairline fracture of the cannonbone. Early this year, he bled after the swale and had to miss the rich Florida Derby. And then the temperature cost him a start in the $1 million Super Derby 3 weeks ago. Now it's the Meadowlands Cup as his final start before the Breeders' Cup Classic.
This fits very nicely. The race is 15 days before the Breeders' Cup. It'll be his first time under lights, but he's a horse with a lot of poise, and he ought to handle that well. So we are looking forward to running, and I expect him to run well. The 1 1/8 is attractive to us, and it's a nice setup for the Breeders' Cup Classic, which we hope very much to run in, and we're planning on it.
But first, a new challenge for the nation's best 3-year-old. Tonight's Meadowlands Cup is his first start against older horses.
Yeah, it is, and that always bothers you. He'll be facing a group of hard-knocking, solid, respectable horses, but he can run, and we think he will acquit himself well. He's never failed to.
And as the horses arrive for the Meadowlands Cup, Summer Squall is running on his permissible bleeder medication, Lasix, here at the Meadowlands. He, of course, can't have that in New York for the Breeders' Cup.
Up for the 13th Meadowlands Cup. We're in the paddock with Hall of Fame jockey Angel Cordero Jr., who has won this race no less than 4 times in its first 12 runnings. You were on the favorite last year wearing those same silks. Blushing John, he just really didn't pick it up at all last year. What was the problem?
Well, he didn't run his race that night. I don't know if it was the light or the track, but he ran his worst race of his life that day, and then he came back and won a big race in the Breeders' Cup after that.
Dick Lundy shipped him in a bit late for the race. This horse has been here for a while, and you've been working out opening bursts.
Yeah, he have 4 works, major works here, and I have his last 2. I worked him when he won a mile in 1:39, and I worked him the other night before the first race, and he won 5/8 in 57, but on a real nice hole. He looks like he was handling the track very good, and looked like he was enjoying what he was doing.
He does look awfully lathered up, though.
Well, he was here for a while before I got here, and then we went once around the runway with him. So being for first time that he was here, I imagined that he got a little hot. But he worked very good, and you could see I never moved on, and he came home the last 8 to the man in 11-1, which he was pretty good.
His best race of the year was the Oaklawn Handicap. You started riding him in the Hollywood Gold Club. He finished 3rd to Criminal Type and Sunday Silence. No disgrace there. How was that race?
He ran a big race that day. He was gaining to them, and they kind of picked it up early, and he only got beat like 3 lengths and a half. But Criminal Time was on his game, and Sunday Silence, he's a tremendous horse. I thought that was a big race for him. And then he came back to Detroit, and he got beat in nose on a muddy track. And he ran a big race that day. He just happened to get beat. And then his last performance was no good, but he was on a very soft turf in Chicago.
Okay, well, we've got some off-going for the Meadowlands Cup tonight, an opening verse. So good luck. Hope you get your 5th. Angel, now let's go talk to Dave Johnson, who earlier this evening talked to a pair of other participants for the 13th Meadowlands Cup.
Talking to and about the entry. Julie Crone, who rides Norquester. Sonny Hine, who trains Norquester and Billy Shears. You've been trying to win this race, the Meadowlands Cup, for a while.
Few times. I don't know how many times, but I think Skip Trowell came the closest. He was 2nd one time.
Now, you've loaded the barrel twice tonight. What about it?
Well, I think both horses have a good shot. It is the toughest Meadowlands Cup I've seen. Certainly a better race than the Jockey Club.
Which of the 2 do you like the best, Billy Shears or Norquester?
It's tough. I love both horses. Billy's just a tough little competitor. He runs with a broken foot and an eye that's usually giving him trouble, and he hangs in there.
Is one going to set it up for the other? Is Norquester going to burn off the pace so that Billy Shears can come from off the pace?
Well, I got to leave it up to Julie. Julie might change her plans, but my thought is they're going to have to catch Norquester.
Well, let's talk to Julie about Norquester. First of all, I know this is one of your favorite horses. Why? You ride so many horses. How can one be a favorite?
Well, out of so many horses, first of all, he was my first Grade 1 stake winner, and you get an attraction to the horse. Early on in the horse's career, Sonny invited me over to the barn and asked me to get on the horse, and he thought the horse had a lot of quality. And when you start out with one from the beginning, like breezing them their first halves, and you ride them and stuff, and he had been off of a little injury, so it was kind of almost like starting all over again with him. You know, he would only run a few times, and the particular race he ran in, it had like kind of a long straight. I fell off that day. I went over the inside rail, and I hurt my neck real bad, and I couldn't even hardly move or walk or anything. And Norquester ran that day, and he broke out of the starting gate, and he stumbled. And after he stumbled, he was shut off. And it says, stumbled, shut off easily. So far as talking about the horse's quality, the main thing is the horse has a lot of quality. He's very big and physically very attractive. He's a real dark bay, almost looks like a black horse, and he's kind of like just like a big, fast black horse, and he's fun to be around.
Now, you're only a few winners shy of 2,000. You think you might get it tonight?
Oh, no, I'm 20 away, so I have a little ways to go yet.
Okay. Is he a pretty good trainer?
Well, like I said, he put me on my first grade stake winner and grade 1 stake winner, and I have no complaints about anything.
Is she a pretty good rider?
Yeah, I wouldn't entrust her with the best horses I have.
Talking about the entry with the entry.
We're ready now for the post parade for the Meadowlands Cup. Tom Durkin.
Billy Shears, one of those two, sent out by Sonny Hine, ran a huge race last time. Big figure, even bigger than a figure of Summer Squall in the Preakness. And Rick Wilson's aboard. Norquester is the other half of this entry, a grade 1 winner on this racetrack, winning the Pegasus here last year with Julie Crone. She's back aboard again tonight. A horse that has had his physical problems, but when he is right, he is very, very tough. Chris?
The two horses, Great Norman. Now, he is basically considered a turf specialist. Last time on the dirt, 5th. In the Oceanport Handicap, Carlos Lopez has them out. The 3-horse Keeneland Sales Purchase, $40,000 bargain. Me Selected was earned more than $1.3 million. And he won last year's Meadowlands Cup. First in the Gulfstream Handicap, Jerry Bailey has the ride. He earned more than $6.8 million in a night. He is a hot rider right now, Jerry Bailey on Me Selecto.
Number 4 is Beau Genius. Among the horses he has beaten in his 7-race win streak include Tricky Creek, Norquester, Silver Survivor, and Opening Verse. He's been off for 48 days. Ricardo Lopez is up. Number 5 is Silver Survivor. He has endured, and he is durable. He's making his 19th start of the year. Seemed a bit better last year when he won 2 races here. Art Madrid Jr. is the jock.
Here are the two short price horses now. Opening Verse. This, of course, from Alan Paulson's stable. Opening Verse, first in the Oaklawn Handicap, second by a neck to Beau Genius in the Michigan Mile, the Hall of Famer, and 4-time winner of this race. Angel Cordero has them out. And the favorite right now, the Preakness winner, Summer Squall. Summer Squall never been worse than second in 11 starts. He is right now 4-5, a $300,000 Keeneland purchase. Pat Day, 3-time Eclipse Award winner, has them out on Summer Squall, the favorite.
And Slavic, the favorite in last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile, was rated by many as the best 3-year-old early on this year. He was injured. This is his 2nd race back off a layoff. A very impressive physical specimen this evening. Jose Santos is the jockey. And number 10, a $41,000 Keeneland Sales Purchase, is Tricky Creek. He ran a bang-up race against Dispersal in the Woodward, beaten only 3 lengths. Lots of pace in this race today that will help the chances of this stretch runner, who's had a good deal of bad luck along the way this year. He's much better than his price indicates.
That's the field for the Meadowlands Cup. A mile and 1/8 for $500,000. We'll run it when we come back to the magnificent Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. 5 AC Opening Verse, the 6-horse. He is right now the 2nd choice of the betting public here at the Meadowlands. Well, those are the short prize horses. We know, of course, you're always looking for that bargain horse. That means the Budweiser long shot. Here he is for the Meadowlands Cup.
For our Budweiser long shot, we've chosen Slavic in his first stakes appearance against older horses. He'll be trying to restart a once promising career, which has suffered a series of misfortunes. In last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Slavic was the 2-to-1 favorite, but stumbled badly at the start. Only his considerable ability and class allowed him to finish 3rd. Then last spring, Slavic's Triple Crown campaign was derailed by a strained sesamoid. He returned to the races at Belmont Park last month with a workmanlike victory at 1 1/16. Now, it's a long way from that effort to the Meadowlands Cup, but veteran trainer Scotty Schulhofer is going good right now, and he has always thought Slavic to be one of the best of his class. So we'll go along for the ride and try Slavic as our Budweiser long shot.
And there's the Bud long shot Slavic as he gallops towards the post, and we'll update the odds on the long shot. He is 8-1. All right, let's take a look now at the complete odds for you. Here at the Meadowlands, Billy Shears, Northquester, boy, the entry surprisingly big at 11-1. Greg Norman, big price expected. Me Selecto at 10. Beau Genius, 6-1. Silver Survivor, 60-1. Beau Genius, the third choice right now. Opening verse at 4-1. There's Summer Squall, the 4-5 favorite. Senator to be with Scratch, Slavic. Bud long shot, 8-1. Tricky Creek at 17-1. Now for a closer look at the storyline of this Meadowlands Cup 1990, let's go inside the Daily Racing Form. Their columnist here at the Meadowlands, here's Fran LaBelle.
The Meadowlands Cup this year to me seems to be an event testing a lot of good horses that have come together through a lot of adversity. You've had Slavic, who had his problems this winter, just came back, he's in the race. Beau Genius came from out of nowhere to take everybody's heart. He's looking for his 7th in a row. Opening verse, another horse that had some problems, was beaten on an off track. Now he's coming into this race. And of course, Summer Squall, whose 2-year-old season was interrupted. You know, he bled early in the year. Now he's coming into this race. They're all looking for something as a turning point for their whole year here. Certainly for Summer Squall, it's the 3-year-old championship, possibly horse of the year. My long shot here, I like Tricky Creek. Tricky Creek we saw run against Beau Genius in the Island, just got beat on an off track that was more tailored to Beau Genius. Beau Genius's trainer, Jerry Bennett, admitted the other day he really has second thoughts about this race as a trainer. But he also knows you need a race like this to establish your horse's credibility.
The Daily Racing Form, as always, we thank them for their help with charts and statistics. America's Turf Authority. Tricky Creek, the 10-horse, heading towards the starting gate. Beau Genius also making his way there. We will too right after this.
You can see that the track is sloppy. We had a lot of rain earlier this evening, and the horses are marching to the post with about 2 minutes to go. And the favorite at even money is Summer Squall. I'm looking for a little value in this race, and I think the best horse in the field is Opening Verse. If he's as good as he was earlier this year, he will win. Angel Cordero Jr. has a lock on this race itself, having won it 4 times, as Tom told you earlier. The question mark might be the condition of the track and whether Opening Verse is all the way back to his original form. Value on the tote board is Northquester, who won the Pegasus here last year, is 9. Make it 10-1 now, and you get 2 for the price of 1. You get Billy Shears along with it. Northquester will be up there early, and Julie could win her 4th of the evening with Northquester. Who do you guys like down in the winner's circle?
All right, as they parade to the post, Dave, I got to tell you, I know he's short, but I still like Summer Squall. I noticed in the Daily Racing Form he has the excellent mud mark on his form. Some others with some mud marks, the asterisk indicating a good mud runner, Me Selecto, Beau Genius, and Tricky Creek, a horse that I scoffed at a bit when Mr. Durkin made him his pick for the Woodward.
Yes, scoffed on national television while my mother was watching. The horse was 13-1. He ran a fairly good race, got beat only 3 lengths, and you, Chris Lincoln, so bravely picking an even money shot that is still running, I might add, and here you pick another even money shot once again. But Tricky Creek, yeah, he is the value, and he's showing some late money here. He was 16-1 just a few minutes ago and was hammered, and now he's at 11-1. He's had a lot of trouble in his races, all sorts of excuses up at Saratoga and earlier this year, but I think the sloppy track is going to help him. He has a mud mark, and Craig Perrette is always a help as well. He ran a bang-up race, beaten only 3 lengths to Dispersal, who ran an otherworldly race in the Woodward.
Great Norman going in. There's pretty much no secret, Thomas, who's going to be on the lead when this race starts. Stunning Hines said nobody's going to beat Northquester to the front.
Well, Beau Genius has got some pretty good early lick, despite the fact that he's won twice at 9 furlongs and once at 1.25 miles. Beau Genius might like 7 furlongs a little bit better than this distance. He does have some pretty good gas, Chris.
You see, he's 5-1. He won that Michigan 1/8, by the way, on a sloppy racetrack, and the favorite still remains Summer Squall.
Opening Verse looks absolutely magnificent tonight. He really looked a picture in the paddock, and Slavic looked very good too. I saw him race over at Belmont Park, and he has progressed very nicely in the last few weeks.
Julie trying to urge Julie Crone into the starting gate on Northquester. Julie goes in with Northquester, and we'll go to the top of the stanza. Summer Squall loads up with Dave Johnson.
And Summer Squall proved that he can certainly go on this kind of a racetrack. He won the Jim Beam earlier this year in great fashion. There's the Bud Longshot Slavic. And the final horse to move into line, Tricky Creek. Interesting that Jose Santos won this race on Me Selecto last year. He rides Slavic this year, and there is Tricky Creek. They're all in line, ready for the start. And they're off. And from between horses, Beau Genius takes the lead. Northquester challenges early along the inside. Billy Shears is right there third. Now, past the stands for the first time. Beau Genius on the lead by a head. Northquester on the outside, and they're wide to the first turn. Those two match strides. Billy Shears in third position. Great Norman sneaks through on the inside to be fourth. After that, it's Me Selecto fifth. Summer Squall between horses sixth at this point, about 6 lengths off the lead. Then on the outside, it's Slavic. A gap of 3 to opening verse. Tricky Creek is next. Along the inside, Silver Survivor. Down the backstretch after a first quarter in 22 and 4/5 seconds, and Julie Crone now has Northquester on the front end by 2.5 lengths. Beau Genius back to second. The long shot Great Norman at the rail is third by 3 parts of a length. Billy Shears gains ground in fourth. Me Selecto is fifth. And at this point, the favorite on the outside, Summer Squall. And at the rail, Cordero has opening verse moving up. Around the far turn, the half in 46 seconds. Northquester gives way as Great Norman takes command on the inside. The 99-to-1 shot has the lead by a neck. Northquester second. Beau Genius is racing third. Billy Shears on the outside fourth. At the rail, opening verse, saving ground, Me Selecto. And on the outside, Summer Squall is seventh. They straighten away in the stretch, and Northquester comes back on the outside. Great Norman at the rail, their heads apart, and down the stretch they come. Great Norman on the inside to the front again. Northquester back to second. Beau Genius is third. Through the stretch and to the wire. Great Norman, the longest shot on the board, with Carlos Lopez takes the Meadowlands Cup by 3. It's Northquester finishing second and Beau Genius third. Upset time at the Meadowlands, 99-to-1, only $786 bet to win on this horse. Great Norman home in 147-1 on the sloppy track.
What a shocker. Great Norman, who told you basically he is a turf specialist. We couldn't even go back far enough in his form to find Winnie won on the dirt. Tom Durkin, what a stunner.
Chris, this is an absolute shock of a lifetime. 99-to-1, and there he is, Great Norman. Carlos Lopez, the biggest victory of his career, and just a few people here at the Meadowlands to split up this big pot. The early fractions were very, very sharp as they ran 3/4 of a mile in 1:10 flat, and moving through on the inside, they gave him the inside. Northquester was taken wide by Beau Genius in the early going of the race. Northquester ran a tremendous race here to finish second. Coming from off the pace, it was Great Norman, and he saved ground all the way. He gets in carrying 113 pounds, and he wins it clearly here by 4 lengths, Chris.
The biggest price on the board, there he is, Great Norman. 99-to-1, as Dave Johnson said, just $786 bet on him to win. And there's the winner of the Meadowlands Cup. As you take a look at one happy young rider, Carlos Lopez, a regular rider in the New Jersey circuit. Man, he's got to be one happy young man. His first Grade 1 score, and does it here with the Meadowlands Cup. Look at the prices. $364.80 on a $2 win ticket. $91.40 and $15.60. Not many people had those mutual tickets. Northquester, $11.60 and $7 for the place and the show. Beau Genius, $6.40. And there is what you call happiness here after a Grade 1 race at the Meadowlands Cup. An incredible performance by Great Norman. We'll be back with more, including what happened to Summer Squall when we return to the Meadowlands.
An American classic.
Meadowlands Cup and its history. Let's take a look at the official order finish. There he is, Great Norman, a 99-to-1 plus long shot winning this race. Northquester second, Beau Genius third. Me Selecto was fourth, Silver Survivor fifth. Now, opening verse sixth, the second choice. Billy Shears seventh. Summer Squall, the even money favorite. Never finished worse than second in 11 starts. Runs eighth tonight. Slavic, the Bud long shot, is ninth. Tricky Creek, Tom Durkin is last. Let's go to Tom Durkin now.
We're here with Cot Campbell, the managing partner of the syndicate, which owns Summer Squall, a horse that has never finished worse than second. A highly uncharacteristic effort here, Cat.
Well, it was uncharacteristic. This is not him, and the horse looked good in the paddock. He's trained well. He was going well into the first turn, and then when he switched to his left lead, he started climbing and never got into the race after that. As he went down the back stretch, one horse came up to him, and he kind of got a little enthusiastic, but that was about it.
When horses climb, it's usually an indication that they don't like the track, but this is a horse that has done some of his very best races on off tracks.
Tom, he's never found a racetrack yet that he wasn't wild about, and you know, you have to look at the virus that he had in Louisiana, but that was a 24-hour thing, and he's been beautiful ever since, so it is an enormous mystery. Pat had no idea. He was flabbergasted, and it is just so unlike this horse.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of tests to be taken in the next few days. Have you totally ruled out the Breeders' Cup at this point?
No, I don't think we have. It'd be stupid to make any decision right now. You know, I think we need to give it 24 hours and then see how we are. We'd love to run in the Breeders' Cup, but we'll have to have a pretty valid reason for this deal tonight.
Okay, thank you, Cott.
You bet.
Back to Chris.
Take a look at the smile of a winner, Carlos Lopez. And Carlos, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I know you've never ridden this horse before, right? On the dirt.
On the dirt, no, I never rode him before, but I did ride him on the turf with a stake with him, the Longfellow at Monmouth.
Well, you certainly know this track well and had the inside position, shortest way all the way home. Talk about the race for us.
Well, we discussed it the whole day, yesterday and last night, Mr. Romero and I, and he thinks the horse is a superior mud horse. That's why we decided, or he decided to run him on the mud, even though it was against these dynamite horses. So told me to save the ground and try to save him as much as I can. He dragged me to the lead, and from then on I just said, well, I can't help it. I'm here. I'm just going to go on with it. And he performed super. He did excellent.
First place is $300,000. 10% for a rider is $30,000. Carlos, how many kids at home?
13.
You have some use for that money. Carlos, congratulations, a grade 1 winner. You're a very popular winner here with the crowd. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Carlos Lopez. Let's go now to Tom and Dave. Some comments.
Very popular with
Very
the long
popular.
shot.
Paid $364. Very popular.
Long
indeed.
shot players. How about turning our attention to the Breeders' Cup, though, Tom? You're going to be calling it. I guess the most wide open division, the juvenile colts with the retirement of Eastern Echo and with the recent defeat of Deposit Ticket.
Well, when they dropped the ball, a horse called Fly So Free picked it up here on the East Coast. Pretty good one out in the West Coast called Best Pal, and one in the Midwest called Hansel. When it comes to the 2-year-old fillies, there is only one star. Her name is Meadow Star, and she was absolutely sensational in the Frizette.
You know, I'm really looking forward to the turf races, particularly the Breeders' Cup turf. I wish that our Kentucky Derby winner, Unbridled, would go in that race. I think he'd win it, but he'd have to match strides with the horse you called in the Arc, Saumarez.
Saumarez and his partner, Golden Pheasant, owned in part by Wayne Gretzky, the power play entry, and there's a very strong contingent coming from here.
And in
for
the
that
other
race.
turf race, we're going to get to see mark of distinction with that red-hot European rider, Franco Dettori.
And we'll also see last year's defending champion, Steinlen. That, again, is another race that might be dominated by Europeans.
And what about that Troika for the distaff?
Well, we have Go for Wand, of course, the sensational 3-year-old filly, and Bayako, the winner of the race last year, who will be supplemented for $200,000, and Gorgeous, who beat Bayako earlier this year.
And I guess with Housebuster out of the sprint, that might mean we might have to go to points in order to find out who's going to be in that one.
There'll be 14 in the gate that day, including what some of the European press have called the fastest horse in the world, Dejure.
And I guess maybe with Beau Genius being defeated tonight, well, maybe we'll see him in the sprint. And what about the Classic?
Well, the Classic is going to have 14 as well. It might be the greatest betting race in the history of the sport. It's always provided some tremendous and dramatic moments in racing.
Like one we had tonight.
Yeah.
Back to you, Chris.
Well, you know, the Breeders' Cup was always designed to be the day of champions. Champions were to be crowned, and it looks like it will take the Breeders' Cup Championship Day, October 27th, to decide such items as Horse of the Year and certainly 3-year-old of the Year. Take a look at some of the top Classic contenders expected to line up for that $3 million richest race in the world. Rhythm, of course, winner of the Travers. Flying Continental, we just saw him win the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Ruhlman won the Big Cap for the year. Izvestia, the Triple Crown winner from Canada. Dispersal, the upset winner of the Woodward, along with Quiet American finishing second. Unbridled, the Kentucky Derby winner, second in the Super Derby. Go and Go back, of course, after winning the Belmont, disappointing in the Travers. And, of course, some shockers here tonight. Never know about this sport. Great Norman winning here. Budweiser International's next for us next Sunday, one of the great turf events. We'll be there with a 90-minute show for you. Tomorrow, triple header football on ESPN. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas, Oklahoma.